Hi then. So again, just want to welcome everyone to our webinar today on AI tools for digital marketing. My name is Stephen McClelland and I'm a digital strategist here at ProfileTree. Now, AI tools for some time have been around and they've been discussed and debated over in the industry. But recently, in what feels like only since January this year, AI tools, and mainly the one leading tool we're all well aware of now is ChatGPT, has really kicked off an excitement and an interest in the industry. And as a result of this, we've seen trending results in searching online for AI support, AI tools, AI for digital marketing, and AI just for general life. And so in this webinar today, we're going to take a look at some tools that you can use to support digital marketing. Now, today I'm going to try and make this a bit different. I'm going to try and make this a practical session as possible and simply using the PowerPoint presentation for a bit of a structure to the layout. What we intend to do today, if possible, is actually use tools like ChatGPT, Namelix, Wix, Web10, Canva, and many other platforms to look at opportunities for creating a brand online. And the idea behind this is that whether you are already an experienced digital marketer, or maybe you are looking to start a brand new business, I'm hoping to try and take you along that entire journey, and you can take elements out of each, or maybe elements of the entire webinar to go through. So we won't be looking too much into the theory behind ChatGPT or AI, but more so about the practicality and how you can use it in obviously our sector and our niche. So there is a small agenda to go through, and I just want to take a look firstly at why we want to use AI in digital marketing. What is kind of the opportunity that's available there for us, or what are some of the potential risks? We also want to take a look at a potential digital business plan. So if we're speaking to someone, or if you are in yourself wanting to create a new business, the opportunity here is that we want to try and allow you to use ChatGPT as that personal assistant, so to speak, someone who can give you a few ideas and give you that blank slate of paper to get started with. We then want to have a look at how you can even generate a new business name, creating a brand, and taking it to the next level of developing a full marketing strategy. So again, using it as that leverage point and understanding how AI can be used as an opportunity for your business and developing your brand online. We're then going to take a little bit more of an advanced look at some of the tools that are coming. Now, we're at the very forefront of some of these more advanced tools, such as development, video, and of course, content marketing. So we will be taking a look at how we can use AI to develop websites and some of the opportunities that are available even today with that. After that, we'll then take a look at AI image generation. And again, that is always a bit of fun going through some of the options that are available there too. Before then, we close out with some content SEO and keyword strategy, as well as some top tips on how to use some of the tools. So today, as I said, I want to try and make this a bit more about using ChatGPT and what obviously AI and these AI tools can be used for when it comes to digital marketing for your business. And so one of the first things here is obviously just the world that we're in at the moment, the explosion of AI since January. You know, ChatGPT is now the #1 downloaded application or #1 installed application. Before that, it was TikTok, and TikTok had held that space for 9 months. And already we have moved to a position of ChatGPT with over 100,000 active users within the first month of going live. So again, the world around us is filled with AI, and it is something that is coming, whether we are ready for it or not. You know, we have a lot of people who are in that position of, oh my goodness, is AI going to replace me? Is it going to take us out? And I believe strongly that it's a tool that we can use for an advantage, and it's a tool that we can use to support our businesses, support our clients, and even support ourselves. And it's how you use that tool. And it's not there, as I said, I feel to replace any individual in the market, but it's looking at an opportunity to use that. So the question we ask here is that why use AI in digital marketing? And so what are the advantages? What are some of the things that we can see? #1 is efficiency. AI can automate really routine tasks, things that are more maybe hard work and take a lot of time. And it can really save us a lot of time, save us resources by taking care of that efficiency. And we're going to definitely take a look at some of those efficiency points today as well. We also then can see a point for problem solving, you know, using AI to identify issues and solving challenges or problems for our marketing. Now, be that an issue where we have an issue with, say, the SEO on a website. Let's say the content isn't ranking or traffic is not as high as it should be. You can use ChatGPT and other tools to audit, to analyze. Google Analytics 4 has now got smart insights and AI built in, and we can use AI to help identify problems and then use other AI tools like ChatGPT as a form of consultant to have a conversation with ChatGPT about the problem and get a fresh set of ideas. And it's about using the outside of the box solution for AI. And that's where the creativity comes in. And this point can be argued that does does it destroy creativity? In my mind, I think it's the opposite. I think it can actually give individuals who have an idea in their mind that can't express it, be it one problem or another, or maybe just that they're not sure where to begin. I think AI can really start to help generate ideas. And I have put in quotes, brain blanks. I couldn't remember what the word was for this, but start that blank sheet of paper that we often, it's the hardest bit is to get over the first hurdle. When it comes to content writing, you might not be a natural content writer out of hand. You might be a technical individual, you might be a creative individual, but sometimes it's getting over that first hurdle. And that's where AI can really help just get you started with the content. From there, then we look at precision. You know, AI is something that is extremely targeted. Again, we're not just talking about ChatGPT. We're also looking at the likes of Google Analytics 4, Canva, a lot of smart insight information, a lot of data that can be used to get really specific results and get really data-driven insights into how we're marketing online. And then, of course, scale. The amount of work that AI can handle versus an individual or even a team of individuals is second to none when it comes to the amount of data that can be produced by tools like ChatGPT and Canva and other platforms out there at the moment for AI. And I summarized this and I took this to ChatGPT and I said, can you explain ChatGPT in a short sentence in a more human contextual way? So don't give me all the stats and figures. And I thought this was hilarious. It even came in quotes and it didn't give me who the quote was by. And this is one of the things that's maybe an ethical point. It's maybe a discussion for another day. But I thought this was a really good description that ChatGPT provided. And that was, think about AI like a super smart buddy for your business. It's there to do the grunt work. So you've got more time for the fun stuff. It's like a mind reader for your customers. And it's always brimming with fresh ideas when you're all out. And the best part, it grows with your business. And that's why we love AI in digital marketing. And I actually thought that was a great description of AI and digital marketing. It is that super smart buddy. It's someone who is there for you to bounce ideas off, to get an idea, to sit down almost with a business coach. And you will see amazing opportunities, amazing prompts, which we're going to get into all over the internet on how best to use AI. But that's one of the big things about using tools like ChatGPT is think of it almost like your personal assistant, your personal consultant, someone who you want to bounce ideas off and get an idea. It's never going to be this genius that gets it right every time. And I'm sure you've tried, if you've asked ChatGPT to write an article and put in facts and figures, check some of those facts and figures. You might notice it sometimes gets those wrong and it can make them up. So it's never, or at least at the moment anyway, it's not perfect. But the idea there is it is that companion for you to go through, bounce ideas off and try and get a bit of creativity. And so the first thing we want to look at is maybe the first part of that funnel, and it's sparking business ideas, defining goals, creating values, creating effectively a whole new business with ChatGPT and AI. And an opportunity here for me is to look at, can we actually go through today on this webinar, creating a business, creating a brand? Now, for the purposes of technical and making sure that this webinar works okay, I have done a Blue Peter stunt. I have some examples that we've set up before, and we're going to take a look at those. But what we want to do is I want you to have a go at this at home as well, and have a go at this even after watching this webinar. And this will be recorded. You will get a chance to go back and we'll share this presentation. So I've added links to each of these platforms. But the first thing we want to get started with is creating a brand, creating a business, and actually just using ChatGPT. So for those that maybe have heard about ChatGPT and you're watching this webinar, but you haven't used it yet, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to get started. But for those that have, I want to give you a few tips and hints that you might not already be using, and a couple of things that you can use to help spark a new idea or a new brand, or maybe even just a bit of marketing strategy. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to ChatGPT. Now, for those, as I mentioned, who haven't used ChatGPT before, simply go to Google search and type in ChatGPT, and it'll be the first tab that normally comes up, and that is by OpenAI. Now, OpenAI are the developers that have recently been bought over by Microsoft. And when you get into ChatGPT, it is completely free. You can sign up using your email address and you can get access to ChatGPT 3.5, which you'll see we have here. Now, I do selfishly pay for ChatGPT Plus. I use it almost on a daily basis now with ChatGPT. And when you pay for Plus, you also get upgraded. You get some faster speeds, so it's a lot quicker in terms of the responses. But most importantly, you do get the latest version, which is ChatGPT 4. Now, ChatGPT 4 is more concise. It is more advanced with the feedback, and I've often found it to be much better results. But I do encourage you to explore the options. So the first thing that we wanted to look at there was to, and if we just flick back just a second, we want to look at generating a brand. Now, I want to put you in a position of maybe you're wanting to start a new business. Maybe you want to start a side hustle and you're trying to do something online. Or maybe you just want to have a bit of fun. Maybe you just want to explore AI and see if you can do some of the things that we're going to do. So one of the first things when it comes to ChatGPT is to give it context. Notoriously, what we find is a lot of individuals, when they get into ChatGPT for the first time and they start creating prompts, they start saying things like create a blog on sport. And it's the most generic thing ever. And it comes off and ChatGPT will create a blog on sport. It'll be great, I'm sure. But straight away, there's no context. You haven't told me anything about you. You haven't told me anything about the sport in which you're interested in. And there's very little context. Now, that's a really top level example. But one of the things that I want you to do when it comes to creating a brand or even getting a bit of feedback from ChatGPT is to start by giving it context. Now, example here, hopefully if it opens for us, is going to be looking at how you can actually provide context to ChatGPT. And I'm already starting to see, hopefully it's going to load for us. Maybe it's not. There's my Blue Peter stunt ruined already. Oh, there we go. Thank goodness for that. So what we can see here is an example of that context. So I went into ChatGPT this morning. So just before this webinar, just to pre-plan. And I went into ChatGPT and I gave it context. And I said, I'm a 27-year-old with an interest and passion for digital marketing. I need an expert business coach who specializes in business strategy and sales to support me with options for developing a new brand stroke website online. Before I begin, can you help me locate a niche or a sector that could be used to attract customers online, but also be specialized enough to appeal to a unique market? So all I'm doing here with ChatGPT, I'm giving it context. I'm saying my demographic, I'm giving it my age range, I'm giving it my interests, what I know and what I want to focus on. But I'm also then almost asking ChatGPT to pretend it's a business coach or to be a business coach who specializes in sales and strategy. So already I'm starting to train the AI. I'm training ChatGPT into being that support for me. So I know a wee bit about digital marketing in this scenario, but I don't know a lot maybe about strategy and sales. So already I'm starting to train the ChatGPT system. But I've given it a bit more to add to that. So I said, I don't want to stock products. So therefore, I want to look at something like a blog style website where I know I can build a website, create content, and produce that content online. And I'm maybe not sure about my sales yet. How do I generate revenue? Maybe this is just a blog website for now and it grows into something. So I'm trying to give it that context. So I'm saying the entire digital strategy and branding will be completely new, and the concept or idea should be accessible enough to generate information online, but not too specialized that it requires in-depth research. So that's an idea of kind of the concept or the context that you can put into ChatGPT. And so we could almost replicate this. We could do it again, and we can give it that context of, I'm an individual with a two-person team. Our business already operates in X, Y, and Z. Can you, as a business strategist or a digital strategist, give me some ideas for where we could look at our business? And these are some things that you could do within ChatGPT and starting to use ChatGPT to generate that form of idea and concept. And so when we then put that into ChatGPT, you can see here its feedback and says, look, I can appreciate the detailed response. Here's some brainstorming ideas. So it came back to me with a couple of ideas around kind of creating a new business and a new brand. One of them was sustainable living and green tech, so eco-friendly products. Then we had the likes of remote work and digital nomad lifestyle, followed by mindfulness, fitness and tech, home DIY, personal finance, plant-based diets, and much more. And so already you can see that we are able to use ChatGPT to develop this branding concept, this idea of different styles of blogs that might be unique, maybe attractive to the market, and how we can use those. So based on this already, and again, I have no preconceptive ideas. I'm really just trying to get a few ideas going to kind of get that, again, that blank slate of paper going. We can then use ChatGPT to give us some of those kind of niches, some of those sectors. And so I looked over these, and the two that appealed to me was the remote work stroke digital nomad lifestyle. That was pretty cool in terms of technology and how that could be used, maybe doing a blog on different productivity tools. I then also liked the plant-based diets, and I was trying to look at opportunities for the likes of maybe a food-related blog. I was thinking already, Instagram and that Instagram lifestyle. There's a lot of those I could start to build in, but there was other opportunities. So already with ChatGPT, I just went back and I said, look, I'm leaning towards options 2 and 7. Which of these do you think would be the most business application for generating revenue? So again, I'm maybe thinking where my weaknesses are, and that's maybe looking at obviously revenue and sales, and is there an opportunity? So I'm not just thinking about a blog and content online. And then of course, ChatGPT is smart enough to know it's got context and it's also persistent. It knows what we've just spoken about. It knows that we're asking about branding. And then I said options 2 and 7. So it knew that that was obviously remote work and plant-based diets. So we're able to take those. And again, you'll see now it's come back with a couple of ideas for revenue generation. So it's talking about affiliate marketing, selling courses online, consultancy services, or even sponsored content. And it then scans across to the likes of our plant-based diets. So we can have a look again at the likes of affiliate marketing, sponsored content, ad revenue, or even online courses or ebooks. So again, amazing opportunities, amazing just to kind of get that ground started and where we go from there. So from that, then I decided to go with option 2. I thought the idea of kind of plant-based diets would be a great way to go, and I could start to play on that. So what I was able to do here then is start to kind of give ChatGPT a bit of a steer. Now, this is where we start to move it into some of these tools, which we're going to start to try in just a second. And the idea behind this is optimizing ChatGPT and optimizing these tools to really help not only ChatGPT, and remember, you're always training that super smart body of yours, as much as you're giving them feedback, you're also kind of giving yourself feedback and starting to get the cogs turning. Now, obviously for this webinar, we are moving at a quick pace. What I would encourage you to do is spend time, when you look at some of these brand ideas, do a bit of market research of your own, but most importantly, do something that you have a passion and an interest for. There's nothing worse than if you have no interest in fashion and beauty to start doing a fashion and beauty product just because you see that's what other people are following online. Do something you have a personal passion for and a personal interest, which means you'll openly invest more of your time and more of your expertise into that product and into that solution. So with that being said, we went down the route of plant-based diets. It's somewhere I'm trying to get into myself in terms of healthy eating. So I thought, right, okay, let's go down that route. Let's try and have a look at opportunities that's available there. So with that being said, we wanted it to kind of start to give us an idea towards creating a brand. What kind of key marketing requirements or branding concepts do I need to include? And what I want to look for there is think of things like domain, taglines, slogans, company vision, mission and values, just to try and give us some ideas. So we're already starting to curate the top level of that plan. If we go back to what we wanted to achieve with ChatGPT, it's about that kind of idea generator. It's creating a business concept, starting to brainstorm ideas. And then what we want to do is start looking at that vision, the goal, and maybe even start to look at that brand persona, which is exactly what we started to do here and what ChatGPT is starting to come back with. What's the brand identity? What do we want to be focusing on? When we talk about healthy eating lifestyle, it's going to give us some ideas for brands, for domains, for taglines. And we're just really trying to put the feelers out there. We're just trying to get a few ideas. What can we try and do? And the whole idea is you want to try and give feedback to ChatGPT, talk to it again, just like you were talking to a consultant, just like you were talking to a friend or a family member. And that idea is kind of give it that feedback. So my feedback was, and this was accurate to me, is who or what would be an average target market or a customer persona? And that's maybe a great way of using ChatGPT. Again, a lot of people are using ChatGPT and they're typing in, I have a food and drink website, who is my target market? And again, there's no context, there's no personalization. So what I want you to do is kind of hold on that thought you were going to write. And what I want you to do is kind of give it a much more human kind of formatted sentence. In the same way you would talk to me over Zoom or over a coffee, you would kind of give me that personal story and that personal anecdote yourself. So in order for me to try and build on what's my target market, what's the goals, what's the persona, what I've went back to ChatGPT with, and I've said, I personally have a young family with a wife and child of 8 months old. Can you help me create a target market similar to my own demographic? So again, I'm trying to get myself in that mindset. So again, ChatGPT has come back with some wonderful suggestions, really good stuff. And it said, look, here's a couple of personas that you might be interested in. These are a similar kind of demographic. You need to arrange it yourself. So again, we've got eco-conscious Emily, and it's given me a bit of a focus on Emily and what she is wanting to try and do in terms of increase her plant-based diets and transition into healthy, nutritious meals. Then we have Green Thumb Greg, and Greg has the kind of that hobbyist, tech savvy. He's looking more to look at sustainable lifestyle. And then we have Healthy Hannah. And Hannah's obviously, expecting her first child. She wants to try and look at healthy benefits and meals and overall general healthy living. So we can see with those personas, we can start to understand what do we actually want to achieve. Now, remember, this is the idea for helping a business you already own, or maybe creating a whole new business. You're just trying to get some ideas. You're just trying to sit down and do a bit of brainstorming to get that marketing strategy off the ground. So with that, then what we wanted to do was look into a form of family healthy eating. That's kind of where I was starting to take from this. That was my interpretation. So I can, again, if we quickly refresh where we started from. So we started with, give me some ideas for creating a brand online. Digital marketing is where I specialize in, but I want to have a look at some niches that are interesting and unique. It came back with a couple of suggestions. I was interested in either the digital nomad lifestyle or the plant-based diets. In the end, plant-based diets won me over for the opportunities that are available and what I wanted to do with it. With that, then, I asked ChatGPT to create me a brand identity for that form of healthy eating and that kind of plant-based diet. And then I asked it to create me a target persona to give me an idea on people that are in a similar demographic to me with similar interests and expressions, and help me understand what that target market would look like. From there, then, with all that information being said, I was able to pinpoint almost a niche for me, which was family and healthy eating. And I wanted to try and play on that and specialize that niche to try and start to generate the first elements of that brand. So from there, we start to get some brand name suggestions, and that's where we start to begin with our brand development. Now, this is where we can start to use tools. Now, you can, as you've already seen there, you can use ChatGPT to develop your brand names. You can see already, I didn't ask it to, but it was starting to give me brand name suggestions, taglines, mission statement, vision statement, brand values, and it played on what I was already asking before. So I'm simply just asking it, this is what we're trying to do. Do you understand what I want you to obviously do here? So you can see my comment back was, I'm leaning towards family healthy eating, which looks great. I'd like to niche or specialize. Let's keep the idea of family healthy eating in our mind for our blog. Do you understand? And that do you understand prompt is just to ask ChatGPT to almost store that information, family healthy eating or family and healthy eating, keep that in your system. But of course, ChatGPT, already knowing what I'd asked previously, I thought, right, let's put that all together. Let's put in some brand names, taglines, the mission, vision, and values, and then some ideas for content. And so what I want to do now then is that once we have almost an idea in mind, we've got that kind of niche, somewhat in a way, we've got our keywords. What we can then start to proceed on to is unleashing creativity, is using tools such as Namelix, which we'll go into, and if you haven't used before, it's a fantastic tool to help come up with a brand solution or help come up with a brand name creation. So Namelix, which you can use here, so it's Namelix. Namelix is another free tool that you can use, and Namelix is a fantastic platform. And what Namelix allows you to do is use AI or artificial intelligence to come up with brand name generation. And the idea behind this is to put some logos, put some visuals together, but it's very simple. So what we can do is we can say family healthy eating, and simple as that, family healthy eating. We could even say plant-based, and we could start generating some ideas. Now, what you'll see with Namelix is it's going to give you a few suggestions. So the first tool that we can use here is we can ask it to give us some style of brand that we want to use. That might be alternative spelling, brandable names, real words, or even short phrases. I'm going to leave it on auto for now, just to kind of give me an all-around solution. And I'm going to click on next. And from there, then, how random do you want the brand name to be? It could be extremely random and give you very varied results, or maybe less random and try and give you more direct names. So again, we'll keep it on low. It's then going to ask you for some brand info. So you can see I've cheated and added some information already. But what we could do here is we could go to our tool like ChatGPT, and we could start to take, for instance, our mission statement. And the idea behind that is we could give it a bit of description, a bit more information, so that the likes of Namelix can understand what we're trying to achieve. So again, we're saying here, family healthy eating, and our mission statement that hopefully you would adapt and you would obviously make it unique to your own business would be, our mission is to empower families with knowledge and resources to embrace a plant-based diet, fostering health and sustainability from the kitchen outwards, which is a great mission statement for what we want to achieve with this new brand. So what we're going to do on the back of that is then we're going to click generate, and Namelix is now going to go off and give us a series of brand terms. Now at this stage, you could spend hours or days going through every form of variation that you like there. It might be the logo that draws you in, it might be the text, but the idea here is very simple. We want to be looking at the opportunity. So we want to be looking at different ideas for really creating a concept online. And that might be things like plantable foods, that starts to ring out to me. Could be things like pure nourish, leafy living. And I'm sure you will find something that, as you're watching this webinar, stands out to you and really appeals to you for a brand. And again, this is something you can start to play around with. Now, Namelix does allow you not only to kind of come up with a concept and a solution, but you can take it a step further with Namelix. So if we look at the likes of plantable foods, just for an example, if you left click on that, it will take you out to a platform called Brandmark. And Brandmark is almost like a logo creator, and it does allow you to purchase a logo or edit from here. Again, you can also buy domains directly through Namelix. But what this is a great starting point for is getting that vision or visual behind everything you've just spoken about. So again, within the space of 26 minutes, I think, we've been able to come up from zero, so have absolutely nothing in front of us, that blank slate of paper, to now already we've got a brand vision behind us. We've got a vision that we can see that we're going for this family healthy food website. And what's on the website yet? We don't know. And that's where we're going to use AI to try and help us generate. But we want to start coming up with solutions that are best suited. So what we can do is, most importantly, so we can find a brand that we're interested in. So something like Green Life. And of course, traditionally, at the next stage here, you might want to start looking at possibly domains. You might want to see, is that domain available? Can we get something like greenlife.co.uk, greenlife.com? And you obviously might want to do a bit of market research to see, is there any competitors with a similar name? So this is something that you can do yourself. Ultimately, you could also go to ChatGPT and you could have that conversation here with ChatGPT about that brand and about, what's that name and convention look like for them. And the idea behind what we can do here is start to understand where we're going with the brand name, what do we want to call the business? And what we can then do with tools like ChatGPT and Namelix is get a brand name itself. So let's say, for example, and we'll just pick it off the spot here, we'll go with Green Life. So what we can do with Green Life is then we can use other platforms like Looka to help us create a business brand identity. And that brand identity is, it's massive. There's lots of free logo makers, Brandmark we've looked at before, but Looka is one that I had great success with and I've used. And at the very end of this, if we have time, I will show you a full site that we've done the entire process with. So using tools like Looka, what we can do here is we can say we want to create a food blog. So we can see food blog comes up. We can then continue through that. And Looka will then start to ask us some questions on logos that we like. So it's trying to understand us. It's trying to see what we're interested in. So with Looka, then we can go through and we can say, okay, we like the simple logos, almost text-based. So the more information you can give to Looka, the better results it's going to generate for you. So again, in our mind at the moment, we have, just need to remind myself, what did we go with? So in this demo here, we went for Green Life. So what we can do with that, as I said, is we can go through with Green Life in our mind, try and create logos that reference that, the feeling and the display that we like. So we can go through and pick logos that stand out to us. We can then do the same for colors. So again, I'm thinking healthy eating, somewhere in green, teal, possibly even blue, and we can play on those. We can then continue through there and start to add in our company name. So if we were to go with Green Life, and then what we can do is if we want, or we have one, we could add in something like a slogan or a tagline. So again, we could take something from the suggestions that are here. So just as an example, what we'll do is nurturing health 1 meal at a time. And again, I'm just using this for the purpose of the webinar, but of course I would encourage you to spend a bit of time on your own and go through this. So might need to shorten that. So nurturing health, we'll just go with that for now. And we can start to pick out some symbol types. So we have nutrition, health, we can stay with food blog as well. Maybe even kitchen, because we want to have that kind of from the kitchen was one of the things that we were looking at in terms of that mission statement from before. So nurturing health at the beginning of the kitchen, and that plays into that tagline here too. So a few options there. So we can start to really create, and I can give some ideas to Looka. Now, Looka, as I mentioned initially, is a free kind of solution platform, but it does allow you to kind of build an entire brand. It allows you to, buy a logo, buy a brand suite, get business cards, even merchandise made. And so what you can start to do with Looka is start to generate, and you'll see here, it's going to ask me to sign up. But what you can start to do with Looka, start to again get concepts in place, start to get some visuals in front of you with that brand name and with some of the feedback you've already given it, from the colors to the logo types. And even here at this stage, we could change things, like we could add in symbols, we could change the brand name, the tagline, or even change the color palette that we're wanting to use. So already you can start to see how quickly we've been able to start developing this brand and getting it off the ground. So from here, the first one that suited to me is this, maybe it's the colors that I like out of this, the green light, the simplicity. So it's this second option across the top. So what we can actually do here is we can click on see options and customize. And what Luca will now allow us to do is bring us into the logo builder. And at this stage, we can start to play around with the ideas. We can click on the icon and we can get different ideas and we can start to get better solutions, make it more personalized to us. We could even have a look at searching for different symbols or different formats. So we can start again to play on those options too. And this is where it starts to get, your creativity then is starting to be expressed. This is where I'm saying that ChatGPT, I don't believe is a replacement. It is a supporting tool. And the idea behind this is that you can then start to explore your creativity, find out what works best for you, base it on what's already here, and start to play on solutions that work well. Again, Luca is going to give you that brand kit. It's going to give you ideas on covers for social media, letterheads, logo file types, and all their different formats. And you can really start to finesse the design, really start to construct what you think works best or what works best for you and your brand name all through Luca. Now, everything that we've done here so far has been completely free. So while you're watching this webinar or when you finish watching this webinar, you can go off and do this same pathway. You can go off and start to produce this content online. And this allows us to then start to generate a business name that we're heading towards, a logo, a trademark, and start to use AI tools. Now, there's plenty of AI creators available on the market. And things like Canva, you can also use. Wix has an AI logo maker. So there is a lot of solutions that are available for you. And it's just about exploring the right solution for you. So just to recap, what we looked at there was we started to develop our ideas and our vision for the naming using Namelinks. So by using Namelinks, we're able to get an idea of different names and how they look with different logo and design formats. And then we took it a step further by using Luca to develop a custom logo or a brand for our business. And that starts to create that vision, starts to take us to the next level of developing our brand online. Now, from there, then what I'd recommend that you do is you jump back into ChatGPT. Now, at this stage, I have went back into ChatGPT and I said, right, excellent. I've now used a third-party platform to generate my brand name and logo, and we've decided to go with, and in this case, during this loop here, here's when we've done earlier sample, we went with a business name called My Plantable as the company name. And what I've asked it to do then on the back of that is to help me generate a tagline and slogan that's short and catchy, but still keeps the niche that we've talked about before. And so again, ChatGPT is helping me explore options. In my head, My Plantable was almost like my family, playing on that idea. And I was trying to think of ideas, and I could have come back with ChatGPT and played on that. But here, what we've went for is we've got a couple of slogans in place, and you can see nourish, flourish, relish, and then we've got obviously growing healthy families, harvest the joy of healthy eating, your family route to health. So a lot of options there that's for us as well. And so what I decided to go with was, I love this idea of your family's route to health. I thought we could really play on that. And that's something that if I was doing this in real time, what I could do then is go back to Luca potentially, and I could have a look at, could we play more on the idea of the route and start to make some suggestions on the back. And that's the beauty of AI. With AI, you're able to kind of go back, make some of those changes, make some adjustments. Obviously, when we do this from a traditional point of view, we go through a designer, we get 3 concepts, the designer comes back, and you might not see that vision coming across. But using AI, we can start to really streamline the beginning of that process. Now, what we're not saying is that the logo is perfect and it's going to be exactly what we want, but it's a starting point that we could either take to a designer, take to an agency, or maybe have a look at trying to adapt it ourselves using various tools. And that's the idea behind this. And that's the big takeaway from using AI for digital marketing. It's trying to optimize that funnel and optimize as much of that experience as you can. So from here, then what I wanted to do was, I have my brand, I've got my core vision and value in the business. But what I want to do next is I want to start the journey of digital marketing. And what's that marketing strategy? What's that plan look like? What do I do first? So just like anyone here, when we're creating a business online and we're looking at opportunities, what we want to try and see is, are there sources, are there tools that we can use? And to do this, again, what I'd suggested is you start with ChatGPT. Now, the whole time you'll notice I haven't created a new conversation. We've stayed in the platform, and what we can do here is by staying in the platform itself on ChatGPT, we've got that persistent messaging coming through. So what we're able to do, as I said, is build that understanding. We are training, think back to the start, that quote, we're training that super smart body. It's not 100% yet, but we're giving it information. So by keeping the conversation all in the same chat, ChatGPT still knows what we're talking about. It still references the interest, it still understands the context and what we're trying to play across. So the next step for me is to use everything that we've spoken about before, from the brand name to the vision, the values, and what we're trying to do. And what I've said is, with all this being said, I don't have a large budget. I'm a small solo operator, so I'm by myself. Can you start to give me a detailed marketing strategy to focus on the top level support for my business? And straight away it's in, right, first thing you need to be looking at is kind of creating an online presence, starting to drive traffic to your blog. Now notice here, it's starting to focus on content marketing, search engine optimization, social media, email marketing, and even looking at influencer marketing through partnerships and collaborations. So already it's starting to give me some really excellent results. It's given me a bit of a target. So I know I need a website, and I've already told it that I have an interest in digital marketing. I've told it we're going to do a blog. So it knows that you're going to build a website. That's coming. But what it's trying to do now is trying to give you a steer towards where should your attention be? What should you be focusing on for your business self? So the likes of content marketing is a great place to start. Using various AI tools, which we will actually look at, to develop a keyword strategy and develop a keyword research and a marketing plan for content creation. And then funnel that into SEO, creating really unique, optimized content online and supporting it with other AI tools, but as well as your own personal content. And that's something that's really important. We're going to get into talking about AI content and SEO, which is a really big conversation right now in our industry. But it's trying to look at how we can utilize that. And then from there, we want to look at social media platforms. So if we take a step back to our presentation and what we wanted to do, it's obviously arguably creating that strategy with ChatGPT, getting those insights into consumer behavior, target personas, and then starting to develop that strategy of where do we go first. And this is one of the things, again, I'd reiterate to everyone here, is that we want to try and use ChatGPT as that strategic partner for us too. It's that idea of, I have an idea, how can I start to play upon the ideas that are there? How can I use ChatGPT to understand the market, understand what's available? And we can use these tools. We can use ChatGPT to build into this market. So what I've done here, with that being said, is that I've went to ChatGPT and I said, I want to start brainstorming ideas around the website. Are you aware of any good examples or plant-based family websites that I could take inspiration from? And so one of the things to note is that, and we will talk about some plugins and extensions, but ChatGPT isn't actually connected to the internet. The last database update was in 2021. So sometimes when you ask it for, any websites or facts or statistics, sometimes you'll find it does give you older websites. So with that in mind, I was obviously trying to be aware that that could happen. There's some things that we could do. So what we want to try and do here is have we think about some of the solutions it's given us. So what we could do here is we could see there's a reference for Oshi Glows. So what I was able to do as a test, I was kind of able to open that in Google, see what was coming up and say, okay, yep, that website definitely still exists. It's a plant-based recipe app for iPhones. And they've got a great website as well, talking about trends and recipes. So from here, then I could start to look at some real world scenarios, almost buried in AI. I've been closed in my own canvas. And what this obviously allows us to do now is to explore some of those solutions and break out of AI and start to look at the real world and see what's going on in the market and start to get a good idea of brainstorming different ideas and seeing what works. And there's different websites that we could look at there, from Oshi Glows to Forks Over Knives and the Plant Philosophy, and different opportunities that's there. But one of the things that I've noticed is that the whole time we were starting to lose the family aspect and starting to kind of lean in towards the food and nutrition. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to give it that feedback, and it says, look, I'd love to combine these websites, but include a more family resource area on the website. So really trying to kind of keep the niche, keep the target persona, and then start to think about, okay, what comes next? So we've got the brand, we've got the marketing strategy, and we know our core vision here is to develop a blog. And so this is where we want to start getting an idea of what's that blog look like? And so at this stage, I was thinking, okay, look, can you start to generate a list of key pages or sitemaps that can also be used as sections within a good optimized blog website? So from here, I'm already starting to get other ideas. Now, again, as a digital marketer in my head, I already know I want home, about, services, quote unquote, a blog, and contact us. But I haven't really thought outside of that. And this is where ChatGPT, for me anyway, was able to explore really good opportunities. So we obviously have got the homepage, and we've got the key elements that we want on that homepage, the featured posts, the blog, recipes, resources, newsletter, things to sign up to. So again, we're thinking lead generation. So already ChatGPT is starting to remind me of the revenue style of the site, and I need to be considering that too. We then want to think about us, and we want to talk about, what's the journey, what is the mission, vision, and values that we discussed before, and why start this website, what's the purpose of the blog. And some of these questions AI will not be able to answer for you, and that's where the personalization still needs to be at the heart of what you're doing. But bringing those across to your business through About Us is a great way to do that. And then, of course, we've got the blog, which is the fundamental part of a blog website itself, and that's going to give us some ideas on different categories and transitions we can use. We then have recipes, family resources, shop, and content. Now, I found this bit to be really interesting. So straight away, I talk about family resources. Already in the previous comment, I started to say, look, I want you to make sure it's family oriented, family focused. And it's brought that into a whole page by itself, talking about family resources, tips on transitioning kids to plant-based diets, meal planning, prepping resources, and trying to manage various other types of content that we could do around families. Another thing then I was quite surprised at, and it was actually quite interesting to see, was a shop. Now, if you go right back to the start, if you remember and have that keen eye, I did say that I don't want to stock products. I don't really want a shop, but it did give me some ideas for, again, how we could generate revenue online. And it says, although you wanted not to stock products, you might want to consider offering digital solutions or digital services. And I thought that was a really good way that ChatGPT was giving me some options. It wasn't just saying, okay, you told me not to do that, I'll not do it. It's saying, look, you've told me that you don't want to stock products, but you did tell me that you still want to make revenue from the website. And I think that's something that's really important. Like, it's amazing that AI is able to do that. That's something that I think a lot of people, in terms of being a consultant, might not even pick up on. And it's really about using these AI tools to create that mental block and give you a bit of a clearer picture. Of course, then we've got the likes of contact us, privacy policy, and our footer pages. So it does a really good job of generating that. So what we want to look at then, and this is something that's quite exciting when it comes to AI. For a while, we're talking about ChatGPT and we're talking about branding, but development and design has been something that's almost been pretty safe. ChatGPT can write code, but to build the whole website by itself, it's still not there just yet. And this is where solutions like 10Web, like Wix, like Jimdo are now becoming really popular in our market space. Now, one of the things you'll see here, as I've highlighted, is 10Web. Now, 10Web really stands out to me. My background before being a digital strategist here at ProfileTree was a web developer. And one of the tools that I used and still today use with all our clients is WordPress as a content management system. And as much as there's many different website builders, different platforms, different content management systems, WordPress for me was the most accessible for our clients. It meant that we could build a website, we could give our clients access to it, and without the need to code, they could get into that website. And in terms of AI, yes, there's been updates. Builders for WordPress called Elementor has brought in AI, but there hasn't quite been something yet to hit the market at that high level of building a WordPress website completely using AI until now, or kind of. So 10web.io is a platform you should really check out. It is an AI website builder, and it has really good tools that you can explore and experiment with. Now, for the purpose of today's webinar, I have set up some previous demos. It's a great tool. It is quite fast, but obviously I want to try and cover a bit in this webinar to give everyone a range. So 10Web is a great tool you can use. As I said, you can generate a website, you can create an account and sign up as a trial. And 10Web is great for two reasons. Number one is that obviously it uses AI to create websites, and that will do multiple pages on a website as well. So not just a home page and that's it, job done. It will create multiple pages, services pages, contact pages, blogs, and everything else in between. Another thing that will also do, though, it will actually build it in WordPress and it will host it for you. Now, this is a really unique opportunity. And the idea behind this is that most AI builders use their own solution, use their own tool, and you're isolated, you're locked in their platform. With 10Web, you can build a WordPress website and they will host it for you as well. but it is still a WordPress website at the end of the day. So you do have the ability to edit it, to tweak it, to change it, and you can even use plugins that you'd normally use on your own WordPress websites. So already it's starting to create an opportunity in the market to explore developing websites using AI. Now with that, I don't know if it's something that it could get me in trouble, but one of the other things you can do with 10Web is you can replicate a website. So if you wanted to use 10Web to build a new Nike website, you could put in or paste in the link to the Nike website and rebuild it in WordPress. Now, it's not perfect. So I'm not going to sit here and say that 10Web's job done. It's taken over the game. Why would you need to build a website anymore? It's definitely not perfect. And it still has a bit of, well, rust around the edges, but I do think it's something that could be used just to kind of get you off the ground. So if we take a quick look at just the general AI builder, when we opened 10Web, when you're in the actual platform itself, and hopefully if I can go back without disturbing the layout too much, when you're in the 10Web dashboard, you have the ability to create new pages, obviously create a whole new website, which is individually hosted for you and managed on their server. But you do have the ability to create individual pages using AI as well. So 10Web, this is all they're hosting. It's very simple. You can see on the left, we've got AI Builder. This will take us to our pages. We have our header, our footer. We have our single pages, our archive pages. So think of that like the blog archive. Then we have each single blog post, then the header of the website, the footer at the bottom, and then the actual pages themselves. Now, when we started this website, we went in and created a new website in 10Web for the first time. It gave us a questionnaire, a very small questionnaire, but what's the purpose of the website? What's the type of website? What's the name of the website? And give me a short description. And with that information, it then created the homepage and the contact portfolio and about and services. So it created a very draft template. Arguably, some of it works well, some of it doesn't. So you'll see, and it did give me, 3 concepts too. So it gave me kind of a light website, dark theme like you see here, and then a balance in between. So already I've got this website set up. Now for me, it doesn't do what I needed to do. It's got things like projects, it's got clients. So it's almost like an agency website. But what it does really well at is now I've got a WordPress website that I can start to edit the page. I can go in and it's actually built on the back of Elementor. So what I can do is I can click edit with Elementor. I can now start to drag and drop pages around, change sections, delete things, add it in. And that's really a massive testament to what Web 10 are doing, or 10Web, sorry. And the idea behind that is that we can now start to create our own website or add in new sections. So if we don't want to have, I think I was actually on this earlier. There we go. So you can tell it already trying to delete the client. But what we could do there is we could obviously delete that section and we can add in a new section. We can put in maybe 2 columns and have text on the left, video on the right, and we can start to play around the different sections. It's all pre-styled, so it's set up the theme for us. So again, whenever I set this up the first time, I would have chosen a color palette that I liked and a font style. It sets that all up. So all I need to use is basic Elementor edits, and I can go in and I can start to create or edit that website very quickly. Now, again, if you'd love to see more about building websites or even just a webinar itself on website development using AI or through ProfileTree, we'd love to hear from you. Please do leave a comment, and we are looking for ideas for some of our upcoming webinars. So if you'd love to know more about developing websites using the likes of Elementor or WordPress, do comment below. Let us know your thoughts on that, and we look forward to hearing from you. But what I wanted to do here, again, was just show you a very quick top level of the 10Web website builder. So again, you have that brand name. We've got that My Plantable in place. We can then start to use things like ChatGPT to get the name, and then start to use things like 10Web to start to create the context. But as you'll know, the site's blank, it's empty. There's no imagery, there's no video. What about that? And so, side note, we're going to come to that later. We are going to have a look at using tools like Canva, like Midjourney, like Runway, and those are all various tools that we can use to generate AI imagery for our website. But to get started with something like 10Web, this kind of gets you off the ground. Now, another thing I mentioned that I wanted to show you was the ability to add pages with AI recreation. So again, what you can do here, and obviously quote unquote, the creativity of this is insert a URL to any web page. So if we wanted to go, and again, take this with a pinch of salt, but if we wanted to go to, trying to go a reference site, maybe careful now, this is where I get in trouble. Let's just take ProfileTree to keep me safe for now. What we can do here is we could pop in the URL, give it a page name. We can call this ProfileTree demo. And again, it will definitely not get it perfect. And that's the idea here, is it's going to try and recreate the layout in Elementor as best as it can. Now, ProfileTree is not built in Elementor itself, so it's a custom WordPress website. But the idea is that Web 10 will try and replicate it, or 10 Web will try and replicate it. And this for you is an opportunity to kind of start with a base plate, start with a mold, and then start to recreate it. Now, it's maybe going to run here in the background, so we might not get a lot of time during this webinar, but we will try and come back towards the end and see how it got on. We're a bit nervous about that one, so it'll be good to see as a real life test. It couldn't be any more real time than doing it live on a webinar, so let's see. But you can see one that we did do earlier. So this was one of the reference websites that had given us in ChatGPT's research. So when we did ChatGPT before, and we looked at a few websites. One of the websites here was Minimalist Baker. And what we were able to do there was put in Minimalist Baker, and it was able then to pop that into the site. Now notice there is, again, a couple of issues. Font sizes are too big. Some of the icons are missing. But the general layout, with a bit of cleaning, with maybe 15, 20 minutes worth of just tidying font sizes and fixing icons, it does give us a really good position to base our build on, to really start to kind of pick up from building a website in AI. So there are so many options there that's available. Now, again, my personal preference was 10 Web. They obviously, as I said, they take care of the hosting, they manage the site. Most importantly, though, it's WordPress and it's Elementor. So it's a very expandable platform. They also have a lot of custom modules and custom things that you can do. But I will, of course, allow you to explore that in your own time. But again, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you on building a website in AI. Another tool that we can use, though, is that if you're sitting here and you're going, Stephen, that looks great, but it also looks mental at the same time, it's maybe overkill for me, then Wix is something to consider. And I know for anyone who's maybe a developer for a long time, you say Wix and it's like heads under the table, but Wix has had some fantastic improvements. And one of their platforms they use now is the Wix ADI. It's built into their platform. And Wix ADI is artificial design intelligence. And the idea behind the Wix ADI is it will do things like this. What do you want to call your website? So the demo that we did earlier was My Plantable. And I can type that in. So you get started with Wix. And we can put in here, we're going to call your website. Hopefully, if Wix works for us. We set this up earlier, hoping that it was go through, but maybe it's going to catch me out. Yeah, perfect. So what Wix will do is then I'll take the name and I'll say, what do you want to do on your website? And again, it's a tick box exercise. So we do want a blog. We don't want a live chat, but we do want to have forms. We want to get that lead generation in. Now, it also gives us some other options. Do we want to have an online store? So we do and we don't. We don't want to have an online store because we don't want to manage products, but we do want to look at digital products. So maybe we can add that in later. And then there's all sorts of different things here, from ordering online to groups. So we're going to keep it really simple, and we're just going to have blogs and forums. So with Wix, it goes through a bit of a question and answer. And again, you can sign up to Wix completely for free online. And if you are more creative, or you'd like to start with a template and build it yourself, you can use the Wix editor. But what we can also do, though, is use the website generator from Wix. And Wix's website generator is where the ADI comes in. It will create a website for you based on what you've already put in. Now, before this, I had obviously put in that it was a food blog, but at this stage, you'd put in your logo, you'd upload your logo, you put in your email address, phone number, social media accounts, if you've created them by this stage, and you'll go through that process. Now, the Wix ADI is really good because what it will do just before it shows you this theme is if you uploaded a logo, it will actually go and analyze that logo and the color palette that you used. So it's really important that you've got your logo there. If you've went for teal colors, if you've went for red or black or blue, it will pick out that color palette from the logo and ask you, do you want to use this in your theme? And it does a really good job at that balance. So what it's going to do here, it's going to ask us to look at different themes and colors. So I'm going to look at fresh. It stands out to me, just that kind of green and that crisp font. So we're just going to go with next on that. And then what it's going to do is it's going to give us a few suggestions. Now, personally, the color, really don't like it now to see it. But again, the idea here is you can start to change these at any time, same as the imagery too. But it's just about getting off the ground with this. So again, this one here is really clean. It's got that nice big hero banner at the top, really simple menu. So we're going to left click on this and we're going to then click next. And from there, then Wix will start to create that kind of homepage, and it will also then ask us for other pages. Is there other pages you want to consider? And again, remember, you can customize or add these in later. So again, we'll go with about and contact, and now we'll start to edit the site. So again, within about 30 seconds, if I was doing this, you can start to see the website starts to form. Now, again, there's some problems with this. I could go to site design on the left-hand side, and I could start to change that color palette. Really didn't like the color choice that it used, but that's where the beauty of Wix came in, is that I can quickly change this, have a look at different options, see what's there. And if I'm really wanting to sit with it, I can then start to change the specific color. If I just wanted to change that one section, if it was too bright, I could go in there and I could change the background itself to a different format. And so with Wix, you can start to very easily draft out a website that has pre-created sections. So here we have an About Us section, so we can add that in. We can then start to edit it, change colors. And I'm not doing this with any full intent. I just want to show you how easy it is to add in new sections or to change things around, or simply just to give you an idea of what's on the market, what's available to you from a design point of view. And so you can see all the different types of builders that are there, from tools like Elementor, as I mentioned, or sorry, 10Web, to then tools like Wix. Now, there is other solutions that are available. So there is other things to check out. And I would encourage you to have a look online just to see what people are using and to see what you favor. But the idea of getting that website off the ground, or helping your client, or even helping yourself with your website development, is looking at the solution that's going to best fit their needs. And that's the big thing when it comes to choosing the right content management system or choosing the right builder. It's a solution that's going to fit their needs. If you are going to be, highly accessible and working on your own website, and you're excited about, learning a builder, then something like Wix or WordPress is going to be perfect for you. But if you're maybe looking at something a lot more bespoke and you just want very limited access, then you might want to look at other options, and it just depends on what's best suited. And that could be the same for the functionality. If it's e-commerce, you might want to look at things like Shopify or BigCommerce. And again, there's lots of platforms there that will offer those services and functionality. So it's just trying to find out what works best for you. So then when it comes to having our website, sometimes the next step that we arguably go to is social media or image creation, content creation online. And again, there is a number of tools available, from Runway, Midjourney, and there's lots of AI generators. But one that I would encourage you to use, and it's an all-round solution for me, is Canva. Now, Canva is a fantastic platform for those that haven't used it before. If you're creating simple material online for the likes of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or even trying to create a logo, Canva is a really good place to start. Now, you'll see when you open Canva, and you can access Canva by going to canva.com, that's canva.com. And when you open Canva, you'll be greeted with this dashboard that will allow you to create a range of different types of documents and support features. Things like documents, so letterheads, presentations, infographics, which you can create all through Canva. There's a series of templates. You can then create presentations. So you can try and create a presentation for a slideshow PowerPoint, or maybe you want some kind of interactive PowerPoint or interactive presentation. You can have a look at the different templates there. But most commonly and most noticeably is that Canva is commonly used by social media. Used for social media. So things like Facebook posts, Instagram, Twitter is fantastic. But one of the big things that I'd encourage you to use is that a lot of people have used Canva for years. They kind of just keep going to the same thing. They're on the For You page, and they just keep staying with the same things. Canva is bringing in some incredible technology, and they're investing heavily in AI. Some of the things that they're using at the moment is video. So having video generated, not just by AI, but video support and photo manipulation. And we could just take a quick wee look at some of those features. So if we start with, we'll use just the framing for a Facebook post. And what we can do with with Canva is, of course, we have the templates. Now, you may or may not be aware, the way the templates work on this is you can search for, say, a food blogger, or food or fitness or family health. So we can type in food blogger, and we can get a template that works best for us, and we can drag and drop that into frame. We can then start to tweak or change very easily the content. Now, again, there's a lot you can go into just with Canva alone. But what we can do now with Canva is we can add on apps, or we can add on add-ons. Now, if you're not sure how to get to these, I'll show you in just a moment. But what you'll see here is I have two apps. And the first app that I have is down the bottom left here, and it is text to image. Now, what text to image is going to do is something similar to the likes of Runway or Midjourney. And the idea here is you can type in what you're looking for. So you can say that I am looking for an image of a bowl of brown rice with a glass of water to the side. I have no idea what this is going to look like. I've just made it up on the spot. So this isn't one that I've done earlier. And what we can do is see what it's going to come up with. We can also help Canva understand this type of photo we're looking for. Do we want like a real life photo image? Do we want it to be more animated in terms of the style of image? We can also have a look at other options that are available. And then what type of aspect ratio are we looking for? What size or scale of image? Square, landscape, and portrait. And so lots of different options. And I would encourage you to have fun with this. I think it's good fun just playing around with it. Sometimes it comes up with some ridiculous scenarios and you're just like, how on earth did it get that? Other times you're just going, oh my goodness, that actually looks real. And this is maybe one of those scenarios where it could fool you. And so all I've had to do here is left click and drag that image in. You can see that I have slightly cropped it when I dragged it in, but there is, I assure you, there's a glass of water in the top right corner there. You're just going to have to trust me for now. And again, you can see that rice on screen. And it just, again, it's just some opportunities you can use, and you can get extremely creative with this. We can use this information or this content for creating our blog. We can use this content for images on our website. If you think back to, that template that we started with, we could add in images above these sections. So healthy tips, that could be, an image of a family in a park. Recipes could be a recipe book. Family resources could be a family looking around a meal planning kit. There's different things that we could do. And you might have an image in your mind and you just can't seem to find it on any of the copyright-free sources. And this is something that you can use on Canva. And at the moment, all the images generated by Canva are copyright free. You're available to use them. Canva does make it clear that they use references online. So when it comes to using these images in certain locations, you do need to have a look online at Canva's policies around AI. But it's something you should be aware of, is obviously that kind of copyright around AI. This is something that's a massive discussion in the digital world right now. Is even content, is it safe to use? Can use it for copywriting, for checking, for generating images, for generating video. There's lots of discussions around that, and we'll not go into that too much on today's call. But of course, if you have any questions on it, if it's something myself or our team can answer for you, we'll certainly get back to you as well. But do have a bit of fun with Canva for creating imagery and creating AI tools. It's great just to explore what's going on and what's going on in Canva, but I really would encourage you that if you are using Canva at the moment, and I'm sure lots of you are watching this, try and experiment with different things. Don't just sit in the same thing you're always using or the same templates. Have we look at some of their new animated tools? Have we look at some of their video work that they're doing? It's some incredible updates. And as I said, if you're looking to find out more about AI, then what you can actually do is actually go to Canva, search and type in things like image AI, and it will give you a list of different tools, but most importantly, Magic Design. And that's where you can start to insert the Magic Design, the AI tools. So there's a couple of add-ons. There's a few resources on the Canva website you can use for playing around with Canva Image Generator, but I really do encourage you to explore it a bit more, have a bit of fun with Canva and how you can use it for your website, for your blog, for your social media, and expand on what's already there. To add a bit more, it depends how you look at it and what you've experienced with before when it comes to AI, you can also now use Canva to generate video. And this is where we're on the crisp of this AI kind of growth now, and that is using AI to generate video. Now we will hopefully in the future, and if it's something you'd like to know more about, do pop us a comment below and we'd love to get back to you, is AI for video and AI and video marketing. And so sadly, the audio won't work too well over here, but I've set this up and I've typed in, so it's text to video. It actually was done on Canva. You might have seen the thumbnail for it under the For You page. So here I used Canva to create a video. And all I did is I typed in, and again, another extension, and I just typed in, thank you for joining our webinar today. It's amazing what you can do with AI. And I selected that I wanted it to be an Irish accent. I selected this profile being a male speaker. I thought it did a pretty good job of doing it. And as I said, sadly, I don't believe the audio play through the Zoom. But you'll see it's got mouse movement. It's not perfect by no means are you going to look at that straight away and go, that's real. But it's just incredible to see where AI is going. And this is something that is is catching up really quickly. There's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot more platforms and tools that are available for video specifically. And that's something, again, we can have a chat about in the future. But just amazing to see where AI is going and what we're going to be able to do very soon with AI online. So hopefully, if I can get back to our presentation there, what we want to do then is, in a way, recap everything that we've done so far. So when we started, the first thing that we looked at was creating that brand. We wanted to come up with a new solution. We wanted to, we know we want to create a new business. We don't know what that business is going to look like, but we had a rough idea in our mind. We then used ChatGPT to start to develop what that might look like, what the vision would look like, and what balances something that we have a personal interest in, something that we want to investigate more, but also then something that has some form of revenue for us, something that we can use to kind of reinvest back into this and to support this business online. So with that, again, we had that conversation with ChatGPT. We explored the business opportunities that were available. And for us and our interests, plant-based diets and family lifestyle was one that we wanted to go for. And through that journey with ChatGPT, through that conversation, we were able to start creating that brand identity. We were able to start developing that marketing strategy and the target personas, to then go out and use tools like Namelicks to create a brand name, and then Luca to start getting our logo together, before we then moved to tools like, I gotta get the name right every time, 10Web and Wix, to then start to creating the website. And from there, then we had our website ready as an empty shell. So there's nothing on our website yet. There's nothing we have. It's just placeholder, blank filler content. And now we have Canva for images. So at this stage, this is one of the most important stages to our marketing strategy, remember, because it said the first thing we need to be focusing on is content marketing and SEO. And that's where then we start to move into where we see one of the biggest assets of AI today and ChatGPT, and that is for content marketing. So when we look at creating content for our website, we can think of multiple areas. We can think of our blog, we can think of our general website. But what we want to do, and the big thing to take away from today, if you take away anything at all, is the context and the prompts. And this is referred to as prompt engineering. It's something that is becoming even bigger demand in our market. When we talk about job and job opportunity, there are jobs everywhere right now for prompt engineers for AI tools, not just ChatGPT, but things like Bard, things like Neuron Writer, ZimWriter, and many more AI content writers. And these tools, these prompts are hugely important to the results that you get back. So what I've effectively done here, I said, look, based on everything we've discussed so far, I now need to start with content generation. And at this stage, and sometimes this looks a bit silly how I've said it, but I said I need you to become or pretend to be an expert food blogger who's highly trained in SEO and content writing. Now that sounds ridiculous to say that to a computer, but what you're trying to do here is you're trying to train AI to say, look, I need you to be a highly skilled, trained, and expert. I need you to be the X person who's in that field that knows this subject. And I need you to pretend you're them. So you're going to write like them. And the idea there is that AI, ChatGPT, is going to reference those resources, at least for what it has online. And it's then going to start hopefully giving you content that comes back to that. And I've then tried to give it a steer. So again, the marketing strategy above told me this information. So yes, I know a wee bit about what to expect for good content, but I'm using the strategy it gave me above. And I said, look, I want you to write content that is going to be optimized for SEO, considering good structure, formatting, headings, lists, and options for internal linking. Also consider room for keywords and engaging content with various calls to actions. Do you understand? And remember that do you understand is very simple, but it's just to reiterate to ChatGPT, save this information, store it, it's important. I'm going to come back to this in the future. I'm going to ask you to write a blog, or I'm going to ask you to write a bit of content. And I need you to remember that this is the way I want the content to be written. So that is really important, because remember, we want it to be persistent. So from there, then ChatGPT went off and it's already 100 miles away and it's gone and it's starting to write content. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But even looking at what it did for us, it was very good. I was very happy with the content that it produced in terms of the suggested title. It's even given me a meta description. It's given me an introduction, even give me the heading. So we start with our heading 2. And again, anyone that's in web development will know that Google uses headings to determine hierarchy. So it's really good practice to have various headings on your page, starting with obviously H1 for the title, and then H2, H3s, and so on and so forth. So really good to see this content starting to fall into place. It's done exactly what I wanted it to. It made a list of both kind of introductions, headings, good structure, clean and simple, like reading. This is not a an article or a book worth of content in one paragraph. It's given me options for internal linking to other resources. And of course, it's then going to have to write those resources. And then you can start to see it's kind of given us the idea. It's not written the full blog because we haven't asked it to do that, but it has given us that structure, the heading 2s, heading 3s, and then kind of keeping that pattern for various recipes and guides before closing off with a conclusion and a call to action to visit the website itself, which I think was a fantastic result. And so what you then want to start doing with tools like ChatGPT is starting to develop that content strategy and planning. And that starts with brainstorming ideas once again. So very similar to what we've seen already. We want to brainstorm ideas. We want to look at competitor analysis. And there's lots of tools that you can use that fall into AI, but also fall into general search. And one of those tools will be the likes of Keyword Surfer. So what we can do is that we can go to Google search and we can search for the likes of, well, actually, let's use the article that it provided. So let's look at the article it provided. So nutritious plant-based meals. So let's just try that. Take out the kids bit, take out the top 10 quick. Let's just try 10 or nutritious plant-based meals and see what comes up. So for those that haven't already checked out Keyword Surfer, really encourage you to do it. Now, this is where we start getting into more search engine optimization. Keyword Surfer does have AI. They have an AI content writer, which we'll soon be checking out as well. But by using Keyword Surfer, we can start to understand the keywords at the moment. We can understand the keyword market. So for me in the UK, we can have a look at plant-based recipes, and we can see that there's an average of around 1,000 people per month in the UK searching for that specific keyword. Now, for those that haven't used Keyword Surfer before, I would encourage you just simply to go to Google and type in Keyword Surfer, and you'll see, my spelling was good, it would actually come up, but you will see that there's an extension for Google Chrome, and there's also a link that you can use. So Keyword Surfer is fantastic, and what you can see here is you can use this to reference keywords online. Now, the reason for using tools like this, as I said before, is that ChatGPT, remember, is not up to date. It's not connected to the internet. So as much as I'd love to say, oh, sure, all you have to do is go into ChatGPT and say, can you list me keywords? What I would want you to do to get the most accurate results is to go to Google and start to build a keyword list of your own. Start to create a collection of keywords around various topics. And that will look at both the physical keyword itself, but also then related keywords. So you can start to click on things like plant-based diet recipes. You can start to look at the terms that come up there, and then start to build, as I said, a bit of a collection, start to see what people are looking for. Now, what you then want to do with those keywords, and if we take a reference here, so we can build a couple of points. So we've got the likes of vegetarian recipes and vegan recipes. We can also then have a look at the people also ask. Now, this section is really important, as this is what's referred to as a rich snippet or structured data. Now, what Google is trying to do here is pull up related information to what people are finding online. Now, this might be, for instance, if you're looking for questions, if people are asking, where can I find a product? What was the best product to eat? How does this help me? These are things that people are going to ask. And what you might find from time to time is that when you look at the people also ask section, you actually might find that it's resourcing international websites. And what you'll see here is that Google will always want to promote a local business. It always wants to promote a UK or an Irish-based business, depending on where you are. And it wants to promote local information. But sometimes if it doesn't find the right structured with helpful content, then it's going to go elsewhere to find that. And so what we want to look for here is that can we find some questions that people are asking to incorporate that into our blog? So if we then were to go back to ChatGPT and we can say, please update, and we can say, please update this article to include the following keywords. And what you would do here is you would list in the keywords that you have. You would then want to go to Keyword Surfer. And again, as much as I try and do this as quick as I can, so no one's having to watch paint dry, you'd take a series of keywords. And of course, the more detail you can add to this, remember, the better. But you can take in your keywords. We can add a few of these in, put those into ChatGPT, and you can say, please update this article including the following keywords. Can you also add a section for FAQs and include answers for the following? And again, what you're trying to do here is build almost the ultimate article that's going to be keyword rich. It's going to be optimized for SEO when it comes to what we refer to as traditional on-page SEO. So when we take that content, we open up the people also ask, and we start to throw in some of the questions that people are asking. And what we're aiming to do here is get a series of questions that are generated within the blog content itself. And ChatGPT might fall over. Sometimes it's going to give us some rules and give us some time limits. I am just going to hit enter for now and see if it works. Hopefully it does. And so what we're trying to do here, now I encourage you to spend a bit more time, of course, going into this. But what you'll see here is the ability to very quickly kind of start with a base plate, start with a reference, and then start to go out of AI, go out of ChatGPT, and start to get real world scenarios. So I think I just seen off screen now that there was a question about SEO advice for obviously being capped. So 100%, we do need to be using external references. We need to be using tools that are online. So there's a lot of SEO tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush. But one of the ones that I would use if you're looking to just get maybe a top level sample source and you're maybe not wanting to spend the investment on the software, tools like Keyword Surfer are fantastic to build a bit of a keyword listing. And so you can take that information as you've just seen us do in a very short form, quick scenario, and put that into ChatGPT. Now, this content and its structure, obviously, there's a few bits still to add, is a really good positioning piece. It's a really good place to start. But one of the big problems here is notoriously what we do is copy and paste the whole thing, put it into your website, and then job done, and we think it's going to rank for SEO. The problem with this is twofold. Number one is we need to be looking at core understanding of SEO and how it works, and that's looking at user engagement. So AI is very good at giving you kind of the surrounding, you could call it waffle at times. It likes to write a bit more. ChatGPT is much better. ChatGPT 4, is much better than ChatGPT 3.5 at the reduction and more concise answers, but it's still not direct. And so one of the things I would encourage you to do before you kind of copy and paste this and publish it on your website is to look at adding a level of personalization to your content. And that would be things like personal anecdotes, testimonials, case studies, and trying to give it a level of relatability. And this is where engagement and responses come into your blog content. When someone reads an article and they see something they can relate to, be it my own experiences having a young family, how can I bring that into the article? Another thing then is video and imagery. So making sure that your images are unique, that they're not the first one that you go to when you go to something like Pixels. And now with AI image generators, there's no reason why you shouldn't have those, but good understanding, clear imagery. But one of the biggest areas that we would encourage you to focus on for your strategy and for content creation is video marketing. Video is huge, and it's one of the only areas, at least at the moment, that ChatGPT anyway, as much as we're talking about AI and video, has not dominated the space. And right now, the market is saturated in AI written content to the point where Google is trying their best to really find detail on websites who are only using AI. And those websites might find themselves being penalized for SEO because they don't have what Google is looking for in their latest algorithm update, which is helpful content. And that sometimes is what you'll find is that when you use AI tools on a repeat basis at 100% of the effort, you might find your content is very repetitive, it maybe doesn't answer the question, and most importantly, it's not helping the user. And that's why we want to give ChatGPT that steer that we've done here. We want to tell exactly what we're looking for. This content is much more helpful than any other blog that I could do in ChatGPT by just typing in, write me a blog that's optimized for SEO for X keyword or X heading. Give ChatGPT as much context as you can to help train the system, to help train the chatbot to come back with more helpful content. But then for you to come in on the back of that and maybe do at least 20% of your own written content on optimizing articles and optimizing the pages. And that'll be things like adding in the personal anecdotes I mentioned, testimonials, case studies, and as well as video. And that is going to be the most optimal way of ranking or position a blog online for your website. But aside of that, you can use ChatGPT for more than just blog and content creation. We've already mentioned that you can use ChatGPT to create a strategy and create a plan, but you can also use ChatGPT to create a plan for social media. And so we can take that a step further when it comes to our keyword strategy and our content creating strategy, is we can use it to streamline a social media plan. And so what this allows us to do is get an idea for what type of content that we want to produce. So I would openly admit I'm biased. I am definitely more in the website front. I'm more focused on the blogs, on the SEO. But what I could do here is I can start to go and say, okay, I now need to create a plan for social media. And with that being said, you can then start to give ChatGPT a bit of a steer and say, plan for social media. So there you go, can't multitask, don't type and talk at the same time. Plan for social media. And that will include schedule. So content schedule, as well as recommended imagery and descriptions. Can you give me a list of, let's say, 15 posts for Facebook and Instagram, and to excuse my dodgy typing at the same time. So can you give me a list of 15 posts for Facebook and Instagram with suggested images and descriptions? Display this as a grid. Okay, so effectively what I've tried to do there is I've said, look, can you give me a plan for social media? Can you give me a kind of a content schedule? And I've said, look, just give me 15, don't go to town, don't go crazy, but give me some suggested images that we could use as well as descriptions. Now, the last thing I added there, sorry, was display as a grid. This is something, if you haven't been using ChatGPT, it's a lifesaver when it comes to presenting information. You can now ask ChatGPT to display items as a grid or as a table, and then you can then use that just for easier formatting. And the big thing to remember is, and this is why we try to keep in line with ChatGPT and we try to kind of keep everything in the same chat, is that persistence. All I've said here is create a social media plan. I've given zero context in terms of within this message. There's nothing that talks about the product, the service, what we're trying to deliver. But because of the entire conversation that we've been working on within this webinar, we've been able to give it that context. It knows Plantable. The first thing it's asked us to do is on both Facebook and Instagram, introduce My Plantable, share the story and what it means to us. Put an image in of our family or the logo and try to blend that kind of kickoff of this new brand. Then it starts to go into share a sneak peek of a recipe that we're creating, include an image of the meal itself, and start to blend on. And now it's starting to give us a few ideas. We can then go and take it and say, okay, can you turn this into a weekly schedule? And really start to plan things out within that itself. So can you turn this into a weekly schedule? Let's see what it's going to do. Might not come back with anything reasonable here. So there we go. So now it's going to give us a weekly schedule. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's going to give us an idea of when we should be posting on Instagram and when we should be posting on Facebook. We can then go back and we can say, okay, can you add LinkedIn or Instagram or Pinterest? Can you add Pinterest into the mix and see what we can do there? So now it's going to start giving you that plan as well. And again, there's lots of AI tools you can use to do this. There's lots of different platforms. But really it's about looking at what opportunity fits you best. And this is great for someone who maybe has a lot on their plate. Maybe they have a lot of things to consider. And if you're running social media for your business at the moment, and at the same time, you're also managing the website, you're managing the engagement, the comments, you're maybe not getting time to schedule. And that's where tools like ChatGPT can be great at actually helping you generate the content. And then tools like Buffer can then be used to help schedule that content. And again, Buffer, Sprout Social, Hootsuite are all different platforms that are, again, all combining. They're building an AI, and these tools can be used to help you actually schedule. So you can sit on a Monday morning, you can use ChatGPT to draft the kind of the core element of the content. And then you can use something like Buffer here or Hootsuite or many of these platforms to actually schedule the content then to be sent out and attributed to your audience. Now, the big thing about Buffer and platforms like Buffer is the ability to manage the engagement in one area. And I'm sure we've all been in a position at some point where we've had different social media channels, different platforms, and we're getting comments, likes, and shares, and we're trying to manage them from all over the place. Well, using tools like Buffer, you can amalgamate those tools into one platform. And as I said, not only schedule, but actually increase productivity as well as management of those platforms. And that's just, again, another small tool or a tip that you can use to help manage your platforms online when it comes to digital and digital management. I should have said as well, for those that haven't had the wonderful experience of actually creating content for social media, is that you can now say create a sample Facebook post, including a call to action to visit our website, as well as emojis. And you can also use ChatGPT to actually generate the actual post content. And it will do a really good job normally of presenting the content in a really clean, user-friendly way, but also, again, help you get that blank slate of paper or started from the ground up. And again, really good place to start from, using ChatGPT to kind of basis and structure the content itself. So hopefully that has given you a bit of an insight into content creation, into content generation or even ideas of brainstorming that you can use through the likes of ChatGPT. And so you'll see throughout the process of this entire brand journey, it's almost like we are using, you'll be shouting at me, that broken record of, it is your personal assistant. ChatGPT is kind of your consultant that you're using to kind of funnelize everything into what you need. And then when you get to a part where maybe there's another system, there's another tool that you can use, then there's a platform or an AI tool for that. And this is where things then still become a case of today, where this is where the agency, the designer, the developer comes in. It's when you get to that design, you've got it to where the AI tool's got it as far as you think you can take it. And that's then where you bring in that designer to finesse that over the line. And that's why it's important to have these kind of conversations with a third party, with a real human, to get that human context. But that is where I'm saying that ChatGPT can be used to support the efficiency, to increase your productivity and increase your creativity in getting you started with a brand or optimizing a brand that already exists. So taking that back to a bit of a conclusion now of our webinar today, and using AI tools and some tips and hints that you can use to unleash the full power of ChatGPT for your digital marketing. Number one, as I said, is just to repeat that, is context. Giving ChatGPT context is crucial to how your website will perform at the most optimal result. And there's plenty of tools, plugins, and extensions that are coming to ChatGPT and already have arrived. One of the notorious tools that has been around for a while now, and has actually increased the premium, so there's still some free things on it, is AI PRM for ChatGPT. Now, if you're using ChatGPT on a regular basis, and sometimes you're running out of ideas for prompts, AI PRM for ChatGPT is great. I'm going to try and add it now, and hopefully in real time while we're on this, it will work for us. But what AI PRM will do is it will add this extension to your ChatGPT framework. Now, it looks nuts. Hold on, if I try and give them a thumbs up, get rid of the thing. It looks a bit mental. You will see all these boxes and suddenly things have changed. But what AI PRM will do is help you create prompts. And that's where we come back to that prompt engineering. So things like creating a keyword strategy, we can click on the keyword strategy and now it will give you the prompt. So you would put in the keyword. So if we go back to our keyword surfer, and we go to one of our keywords we're looking at, so plant-based diet recipes, we could go and, how many windows do I have open? Yep, we could go and we could pop in our keyword and we can say we want 7 subcategories, 14, 21, we want it in English, and we can hit go. And it will now come back with a, now again, remember, you need to be careful with where the resources and the information volumes come from, but it will now come off and come back with a keyword strategy. And there are many tools out there that are used. Now, again, you still need to be careful with a lot of these because they're still using the core database from ChatGPT. And that's why I'm saying you will still need to do your own research. There are plenty of extensions that are available. There are plenty of plugins that are available for ChatGPT. But this is just one example of how plugins and extensions are making a massive difference to how you can really unleash the full power of ChatGPT. Today, we've looked at kind of all the core aspects, the basics and how you can use it and the fundamentals. But once you've mastered those fundamentals, this is where then the plugins and the other add-ons come in. So do take a note of that one. That was AI PRM. And if you just go to Google search and you type it in, it will come up. AI. Again, today I've lost the ability to type as well as speak. So AI PRM for ChatGPT, you can add it through Google Chrome as an extension and it will automatically bolt on to your ChatGPT engine itself. We then have other AI tools as well, and we have things like ChatGPT Voice, and that allows you to talk to ChatGPT. It doesn't talk back, but it does type in for you. So if you want to have a conversation with ChatGPT, in that sense, you can do that as well. But the big thing that I want you to take away from is this idea of context and prompt engineering. That is the best way to really unleash the full power of ChatGPT. And so some examples of things that you could do. So if you have a website at the moment or a Facebook page and you go to the About section or you go to the About Us page, you might have this tiny paragraph that says that we're a family-run business, we own a bicycle store, and we do X services, and you bullet point listed them. What I would do there is, instead of going to ChatGPT and saying, can you rewrite this, which is what everyone does right now, and I guarantee you, if you've tried it, you've probably done it yourself, is copy and paste, and you say, rewrite this to be more optimized for SEO, or rewrite this to be better. What I would suggest you do is something that you can see on the screen here, and I would say, rewrite the About Us page, and you're going to paste it underneath in a second, for a local family owned, and then the topic or the business name doesn't need to be family owned, by the way, but just whatever a describer would be. So again, context is helpful. So family owned bicycle repair business, the narrative should be an engaging journey emphasizing the shop's long-standing commitment to customer satisfaction and expertise in bike repair. Incorporate keywords like And again, if I was you, I would do semicolon and just list off a list of keywords, and then also mention the local SEO. So again, local SEO being huge, make sure you say the family bicycle store or the family business or the business is located in Belfast, London, Manchester, wherever the business is located, and that will help boost your local SEO. And then underneath that, paste in the actual About Us page and hit enter, and you will see the prompt, the response that you will get from ChatGPT will be a million times better than what it would be if you just typed in rewrite for SEO or rewrite for better engagement. We can do the same then for social media, as you've seen already, and it's all about that engagement. Craft a series of Facebook posts for a local grocery store. Each post should have a highlight of a different local product, telling the story from its farm to table journey, ending with a question to encourage engagement, include calls to action for visitors to visit the store, try the product, and boost online engagement and in-store visits. So again, there's just some ways that you can use ChatGPT to its full potential when it comes to optimizing your website. You can also then use it for optimizing your e-commerce. So if you have an e-commerce website with products, you can then use it to optimize those product descriptions. Craft a persuasive product description highlighting the key features and benefits of an innovative ergonomic office chair. Again, probably add a bit more to that even, but it's just giving you an idea of how you can use ChatGPT to really excel in that creative journey with your content. But the big take home from today, as I said, is to make use of these platforms, is to not be afraid of AI, to not kind of hide it away and say, no, it's going to die out. Elon Musk, a lot of these platforms are trying to put a pause on it because it's got too advanced too quickly. But it's to use it. These systems are coming, and there is only more AI tools on the way. And like anything over our history of technology and innovative improvements, it is something that's kind of slided in, and we need to accept that it is here and it is coming, and we need to try and embrace it. Google's standpoint on AI at the moment is that it is supporting AI, but it is still most importantly looking for helpful content. Hence, Google's key approach was the helpful content update. Now, algorithm change was to really encourage unique, user-friendly content. And that's the key thing, is that when you're using AI, it's to be concise, it's to answer the questions that people are looking for, and most importantly, make sure your content is engaging. Hence why this is a balancing act. It is not a case of everyone's replaced, everyone uses AI and it's a job done, but it's about balancing the tools that are available and using the tools that will support you in where you want to take your business. So I would encourage you to drop us a comment below on LinkedIn if you're with us there, and I will encourage you to go through. I have tried to go through some of the questions as they've come in, so hopefully I can help with some of those points there too. But if you do have any other comments, if you do have any other questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have enjoyed today's webinar and you'd love to hear more from myself, I would encourage you to, if you wouldn't mind, take a wee click over to ProfileTree, and if you'd be so kind of doing so, there's a wee Google review there. If you could do a wee name drop that you were from today's webinar, that would be fantastic. Keeps me in the good books and keeps me doing more webinars. But if you do have any other suggestions, or you'd like to know more about other digital services related to SEO, web design, social media, PPC, or even AI video marketing, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So you can reach out to us on our websites as well to us on social media, but I will just encourage you to keep dropping in your comments below. So I've seen a few people just saying there about the likes of Midjourney. So again, you can use, of course, Midjourney to create images and commercial use. Again, you need to be careful with a lot of these platforms. And one of the things that we're seeing, and things that I've heard from, I suppose, online resources, but our thoughts on these are, you need to do your due diligence. You need to do your research. A lot of these platforms will suggest that they're copyright free, but like Canva, if you actually read into the terms and conditions, it's actually based on the reference photography. So if there is a brand or any form of reference familiar image, so again, generic things like a bowl of rice you could get away with, but if you have a reference image like an actual cityscape in the background, those images are actually referenced from online archives, and there could be, and it's a bit of a legal minefield, there could be some form of issues there with that. So do be careful with using a lot of AI image generated content. Same for written content, in terms of AI can, you can use it for proofread, but we would recommend there's other tools there to use for plagiarism style checks and for obviously written content. There's also other tools you can use if you're looking to quality assure your content. Tools like Grammarly. Grammarly has done some amazing things when it comes to their AI tools, and that's for grammar, spelling, but also now looking at sentence restructure. And so again, lots of amazing tools you can use there for ChatGPT. But again, with content, we would say just be careful with trying to use ChatGPT for 100% of your work. We'd be saying My rule of thumb of any client I'm speaking to is 60-40. You know, 60% ChatGPT is fine, but you need to still be adding 40% of your own unique work. And that's going to be those anecdotes, testimonials, video, and whatever material you can add in as well. Again, Canva is a great tool, and that was great, Davina, so thanks for referencing that. So really would encourage you, if you're not already, is to explore Canva and explore some of the options that's there. It's really a powerful platform, but it's also something you can use across the breadth of your business, which is great. So it's not just isolated to social media, and that's where a lot of people almost kind of forget about, is that they focus so much on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, okay, we use Canva, but when it comes to their website and their blogs, it's suddenly, where do we go? What images do we use? What content do we use? Email marketing, you can create email marketing on Canva. Canva actually can connect to MailChimp. So you can actually use Canva to create the design and the layout and then link it to MailChimp. So those are just some examples of how Canva can be used across the breadth of your business as well. But again, look, I really appreciate your time today and joining us on this webinar. Do, again, reach out to us online with any questions or comments. And I will leave the Zoom open for just a wee bit longer. If anyone does feel to drop in, we look forward to seeing you again. Look forward to seeing the questions, and otherwise we will speak to you again soon. Thanks for your time today.